banned him for giving a blanket to someone freezing in the cold. That's not just cruel, it's inhumane. When Mark offered a warm coat and a kind word to a homeless woman outside a convenience store, he had no idea it would cost him his job. But what he discovered about her past and what happened next would leave an entire town stunned. Welcome to Untold Narratives. Let's get started. Mark Thompson is a man who's made a life out of giving, though not always receiving much in return. In his mid-30s, Mark works as a dedicated high school teacher in a small town. His students know him as a quiet, dependable figure who always seems to have time for them, no matter how busy his schedule is. Mark's life hasn't been easy. He was raised by a single mother who juggled 2 jobs just to keep their small home running. His memories of childhood are filled with late nights when she'd come home exhausted, but still managed to put food on the table and encourage him to chase his dreams. Her selflessness shaped the man Mark became, a man who believes that even when life is tough, helping others is what truly matters. Despite the financial strain of student loans and medical bills for his mother's ongoing health issues, Mark continues to give. His paycheck doesn't go far, but it's always stretched further when it comes to helping his students. Whether it's buying lunch for a kid who forgot their wallet, staying after school to tutor those falling behind, or just offering a kind word when someone needs it, Mark pours his heart into his work. His life may not be filled with luxury, but it's rich in purpose. He believes that the little things matter most, the moments when you show up for someone who needs you. And yet, even in a life dedicated to giving, Mark's own heart sometimes feels heavy, burdened by the demands of caring for others while carrying his own worries. But still, he continues to open himself up to the world, because deep down, he knows that kindness is what keeps him going. It was a bitterly cold evening when Mark finished his last class and walked to his car, exhausted but satisfied with the day's work. The streets were nearly empty, save for the faint hum of the streetlights and the distant sound of a car engine. As he passed the local convenience store, something caught his eye. A woman, barely visible in the shadows, was huddled beside the dumpster. She was thin, her face pale and gaunt, and her breath was visible in the frigid air. Mark's heart tightened at the sight of her. She was clearly shivering, her arms wrapped tightly around her body in a desperate attempt to stave off the cold. She looked unwell, barely able to keep herself upright. Without a second thought, Mark approached her. He took off his coat, draping it over her shoulders, and crouched beside her. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked gently. The woman, startled, looked up at him. Her eyes were tired, filled with a mixture of fear and gratitude. I'm just trying to get through the night," she whispered. Mark's heart went out to her. "You need food, warmth, something to drink?" She nodded, her voice shaky. "I haven't eaten in days." Mark didn't hesitate. He left her for a moment to buy some food and a hot drink from the store, and when he returned, he sat with her. They talked as she slowly ate, and Mark learned her name, Clara. She revealed that she had been homeless for months after fleeing an abusive relationship. She'd lost everything, her home, her job, even her sense of safety, and now she was just trying to survive. The next morning, Mark couldn't shake the image of Clara sitting in the cold, so he decided to do something more. He called his school and arranged to pick up the blankets and donations from the recent drive. He returned to the convenience store with supplies, blankets, hygiene kits, and warm food for Clara. But as Mark approached the spot where he had left her the night before, the store manager, a man named Richard, spotted them talking. Richard didn't know Clara's story. He only saw an unfamiliar face near his property. He approached quickly, his expression cold. "You can't be here," he said sharply. "This is private property. You need to leave." Mark, taken aback, tried to explain. "She's not doing anything wrong. She's just—" But Richard wasn't having it. "I don't care. She's trespassing, and if you don't leave, I'll call the police." Mark stood his ground. "I'm just trying to help." The manager's gaze hardened. "Well, your help isn't welcome here. Get lost or I'll call the cops." Reluctantly, Mark turned to leave, but not before Clara looked up at him with a mixture of thanks and apology in her eyes. The situation escalated quickly. The store manager reported Mark to the school, questioning his judgment and accusing him of violating professional conduct by associating with someone he didn't know. The school, though sympathetic, felt pressure from the store's management, and soon Mark found himself caught in a whirlwind of complaints. His reputation, the trust he'd built with students and faculty, was suddenly at risk. Worse still, his job was now on the line. Mark had always prided himself on doing the right thing, but now he was questioning whether his kindness had led him into a trap, one that could cost him everything he cared about. It wasn't long before Mark's encounter with Clara began to gain attention in ways he never could have imagined. The morning after the incident at the convenience store, with her sister by her side, Clara began to look forward to a future that, for the first time in a long while, felt full of possibilities. In recognition of Mark's unrelenting kindness and the ripple effect it caused in the community, he was awarded a prestigious Community Service Award. The ceremony was emotional, with many in the audience offering their thanks for his unwavering compassion. But the most heartwarming part came when the community rallied to help Mark with his mother's medical bills. Donations poured in from all corners of the town. People who had been touched by Mark's story wanted to ensure that his selflessness was returned in kind. What had begun as a simple act of kindness, giving a homeless woman a coat and some food, had blossomed into something far greater. Mark's story sparked a movement of awareness, empathy, and change. It opened people's eyes to the reality of homelessness, the importance of supporting one another, and how a single act of kindness can change the lives of so many. Mark had learned that in a world that can often feel indifferent, kindness is never wasted. In the end, it had not only transformed his life, but had inspired a community to look beyond themselves, to be more aware, more compassionate, and more willing to help those in need. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's entire world. In helping others, we often find the strength to heal ourselves. Mark's simple decision to help Clara without expectation or reward became the catalyst for an entire community to rethink how they treat others. In a world that often seems divided, it's the small, compassionate actions that have the power to bridge the gap, restore hope, and ignite change. By helping others, we not only change their lives, but we also discover the deeper purpose and strength within ourselves. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us of the goodness in the world. And check out the next story, because the next act of kindness could be yours.